Hi, once again, it's Kill Switch, and I'm going to do a second review on the Kobalt Snowblower. The reason for this second review is I got a second chance to use it before returning it. Well, let's go back to my first review. I said, I think I gave it a 2 or a 3 out of 5. And the reason was no skid plates, and I was doing most of the work. Well, to update you, I did not order the skid plates because I was planning to return it. But we got 4 inches of snow, so I decided let me give this thing a second chance instead of breaking my back. And it did a decent job. With no skid plates, it's still a problem because you still have to push it if you're on an incline. If you're on a flat surface, you're fine. It's when you have to start pushing this thing that it gets to be a pain. When you're just going up and down a flat surface, like the end of my driveway, it was great. But again, need a second battery. I don't want to change my views on this. That's not the right word. I don't want to change what I think on the product as a whole because the blade design is still not good. The blade design will work when it's just a dry pack snow, but when it's wet or anything else, it could be a problem. Now it may work on the flats, but any incline you're going to have an issue. Unless you go down, drag it back up, and then go down again instead of pushing it up. That's where you run into most of the problems. But the secondary issue that I have is Kobalt as a company. And this may be something I should have mentioned before because maybe it did make my review a little biased. Um, they used to have a hassle-free warranty. When they first came out, it was a great thing because if I'm on a job site, one of my tools breaks down, I go get a Kobalt tool and just keep it until it breaks. And then I would just go over to Lowe's, wherever, and pick up a new one. And it was a simple trade-in, no hassle. But this time, I have a miter saw that I can't return, claiming third-party people are selling their tools and whatever and they can't be sure. But what does that have to do with a warranty? If you warranty the product and the product doesn't work, fix the product. Whether I bought it from Lowe's or somewhere else, it wouldn't matter. But I did buy it from Lowe's. But for some reason, they can't find the receipt. And you don't register tools a lot of times. These days, I barely get a minute to myself. Because right now, I might have to return the lawnmower because the batteries aren't working and they won't replace the battery. So, it's kind of an up and down relationship with Kobalt as a company. I also have a table saw that's not working, and it's another back and forth thing, and that may also not get fixed. This is another issue. See, when I review something or tell someone, hey, this is a tool that I would recommend, I would want to recommend it 100%, not 50%. I use a lot of tools in my job, So I come across things. Someone may ask, "Hey Eddie, what do you recommend as a miter saw for someone who doesn't use it often?" And I may have said Kobalt because their tools seem to just work. No issues. No adjusting this, adjusting that. You take it out of the box, put it together, it works. Some other tools you may have to make adjustments because, as you know, some miter saws, the fence is not straight. So there may have been a little of that in my first review too. I'm not going to bump this thing up to a 4 because other tools you will get 2 batteries. I mean, maybe they expected this to be sold to only people who have short driveways. But for me, it's a necessity at this point because checking gas, checking oil, and all that stuff just takes time, and time is something that I just don't have anymore. So there may have been a little of that in the review, but it is a decent product. It does work. I just have an issue seeing this thing being a long-term tool, especially when you're in an area where you get wet snow or heavy snow. It worked great on the 4 inches, but I don't know what it'll do after that. So I'm still going to leave my review as a 3. But it really isn't a bad tool, like I mentioned. It's just the fact that there are some deficiencies. If you want to say I said 3.5, I can live with that. But I wouldn't go any higher than that because you show a product with something on the box, that should come in the box. And if you go buy an ego blower, you get 2 batteries. You buy others, you get 2 batteries. It's just something that should be included. Because if I go and try and buy one of these batteries, it's almost another $200. And then at that point, it's not a convenience anymore when I have to pay $550 for the snowblower to start with. Then it's $750 with the second battery. So it's just a number of things that make this an iffy purchase. If you want to buy it, of course I'm not going to stop you. That's your choice. It is a decent snowblower, but just be ready for the other things that could make it a bad purchase. Like the blades will most likely at some point need to be replaced. And that's a wear thing, so that's not going to be covered on the warranty. Any part of a tool that can wear out like that is not going to be covered, so that's something you will also have to consider. I don't know how long it would take for that to happen, but it's just something to consider. So I'm going to say I guess we'll call it a final review, giving it, let's say 3.25, somewhere between 3 and 3.5. Like I said, decent product. I don't want to just give a bad review just because of the company or something like that. It is, the product itself just has some faults. Well, I'll let you get back to your regular everyday thing. I gotta get back to work. Thanks for listening.